Know how much I love to hear about people who are making a difference, and mostly I only get to speak to them on the telephone. Not today. No. I welcome into the studio father and son team, Gary and Fraser Stewart. Gentlemen, welcome.
Hi Sylvie, how are you doing?
Really good.
Hi, Sylvie.
Lovely to see you. And the most important thing is, were my instructions on how to get here very good, or did you get lost along the way?
They were impeccable.
That was the right answer, because otherwise the travel you trust bit is completely out of the window if it's so. Welcome to Guildford, welcome to the studio. Lovely to have you guys on board. We're going to be talking about your development of something called Lyfeguard, spelt Lyfe.
That's correct.
Guard, lyfeguard.com being the website. Tell us all about it. First of all, what prompted you to set this up?
Yeah, well, it was a couple of years ago, and sadly a couple of friends of mine died very suddenly, and I'm seen as a sensible guy, and I was asked by the
Fraser about that in a minute.
And the families of these two gentlemen asked me to look out and sort out their estate post their death. And to be honest with you, I found it quite a traumatic and difficult situation to deal with. And more than that, the information that they had to sort out these things was all over the place. I felt myself going through their studies and having to go through filing cabinets and very personal information. And I found it quite distressing, especially when I was suffering from a little bit of grief myself. Yeah. And kind of like that really was a very sad time. Took me probably about 6 months or more to sort out each estate. And then all of a sudden, during COVID, when there was a heightened awareness of death,
of course,
I got to thinking, well, what happens to my family if the same thing happens to me? And the Lyfeguard idea was born. And that was back in February 2021. So the Lyfeguard journey began.
And of course, COVID was, it's a difficult time for many people, but it also, in some respects, has had some positives. It's given people downtime to do things like you and Fraser have come up with that perhaps they wouldn't have had the time to think about if they were going about their normal day-to-day business. But this is really important stuff, isn't it? We don't want Sunday afternoon to be morbid, but the reality is we're all going to die at some point, aren't we? And we all think we've got everything where it's going to make it easy for our families. That is just not how it works, as indicated in your experience of your two friends, Gary.
Yeah, and absolutely. So we tried to not just make this all about death. So we've produced a product which Fraser and I will talk about over the next 10 minutes or so. But we've tried to make this product really useful in life as well. So it's not just all about death. Let's make it useful and interesting to people, both young and old. But fundamentally, it will prepare you for the eventual event, which is going to happen to us all, the end of life.
So it's a life tool, crucially with everything in one place. Fraser, tell us then a little bit about how Lyfeguard works.
Yeah, exactly that. So Lyfeguard is a solution where people can go on, store all of their important life information, but also be able to access it on the go. I don't know about you, but when you quickly want to find a customer reference number or a passport scan,
it's not happening, is it?
It's not easy. So it's the one place you can go and find that quickly. But over and above just information storage, what we've wanted to do is really bring some of that information to life. So the platform uses technology to be able to scan the information stored for things like expiry dates, and then it can generate things such as handy reminders. So an example of that will be your car insurance. It's coming up for renewal in 3 months. Lyfeguard will give you a reminder, and then you can take action on that and maybe switch your provider and hopefully save some money along the way. The other bit that we do is use some of the information to be able to bring kind of insights into your financial health. So looking at all the things you store across your bank accounts, your pensions, your investments, and visualize that on the dashboard. So being able to look into kind of your pensions versus your goal, your investment growth over time, but also like your recurring payments. So thinking about subscriptions, being able to identify what all of those are, the ones that are coming out your bank, and potentially, definitely in a cost of living crisis that we're in at the moment, be able to identify places to cut back and help our users kind of really hone in on their financial well-being.
when you try to, you think, oh, well, I better check on my pension, I better check my credit score, and you mentioned there the example of your new customer reference number plus 1 million passwords. But how great that I guess you can just with one password get into your Lyfeguard and be able to access all of your information in one place. It's divided up, I understand, into sort of 8 sections. Gary, what are those?
That's correct. So we tried to make sense of kind of like your life with personal information, for example, which Fraser's already referenced in terms of passports, driving licence. Financial is about life insurance, it's about your bank accounts, it's about any savings, investments that you've got. Home and possessions, this is a really interesting section in terms of everybody lives somewhere. Everybody's got utility bills, they've got their gas, their electricity, water. And again, it's about the reminders and renewals. If you've got broadband contracts and they tend to get more expensive every year, again, the reminder functionality that Fraser referred to makes it a lot easier for you to renegotiate a contract and not pay more than you have to. The other thing, and you've mentioned it, Sylvie, everybody's got like lots of passwords. Now, Lyfeguard itself doesn't store passwords because we've kept them completely off the platform because of security, and we'll talk about that a wee while in a wee bit, I'm sure. So we've all got kind of like streaming services, whether that's on movies, whether that's on other things like music. And again, you're paying for these services as well. So kind of like, but we've all got these accounts, and ultimately, when we go back to the end of life stuff, all these things have to be shut down as well. So that's why we ask you to store them. Legal, so we spoke about a wee bit about wills. The other thing that we concentrate on is legal powers of attorney, which is actually becoming more prevalent, and it's really quite important for people to have these things, especially as they get older, but no age is too young to have a legal power of attorney. Health and wellness. So this isn't all about poor health, this is about good health. Mm-hmm. So it's gym memberships, it's basic NHS and GP information, and if you've got any health insurance with a health insurance provider, you can store that there. Then we get into retirement, so we're getting towards the end of life, but that's a good time in your life. Kids are out the house, and kind of like you've got a bucket list.
Your dad looked at me when he mentioned the retirement. We're all getting there, and he looked straight at me, Fraser, straight at me. It's all right, the truth hurts.
I'm sure I'm much older than you, Sylvie.
Checks in the mail.
Thank you very much. So this is about the retirement area is kind of like for some memories. It's about a bucket list, right? It's things you want to do. And kind of like, and you can even put a timeline against that as well. And then where Lyfeguard really started was about end of life, right? It's what type of funeral you want, kind of who you want there, who you don't want there. Maybe you want to leave some private letters to loved ones. We facilitate that within the platform as well, and they can be released after you die, or indeed, if you want to share them sooner, you can do so within the platform too.
It really is your whole life in one place, isn't it? And crucially, able to be used throughout your life to help you plan and manage and organise and hopefully make your life easier. And then, at the end, just so much easier for your loved ones to be able to get their hands on what they need to do to sort out your affairs and your estate. So can anyone use it, basically?
Exactly that. We've wanted to build this for anyone and make it accessible for anyone. So from day one, we've built the technology so it's easy to use and user friendly. So whether it be people who just want to get their life in order, sort out that really difficult life admin, and be able to have somewhere where they can store, access their information, but also bring life to it through insights. Or on the other hand, people who want to get an end of life plan in place, the platform allows that too. So it really is for anyone, whether it's tackling organisation personally or it's really getting an end of life plan in place so your friends, your loved ones have that peace of mind that they know where to look should they need to.
Sure. So is this online, a website or an app or both?
It's currently a web-based app, so people will log in on lyfeguard.com and then access the platform that way. So they can log in on a desktop, and it's also very user-friendly on a mobile too. We are looking to develop a application itself, which will be available through the iOS and Android store. Yeah. But at the moment, via lyfeguard.com.
And so how does all this information that we've talked about get on there then? Who does that? Is that the individual themselves? Is it yourselves because you know how the system works?
It's a great question, and it's a mix of both at the moment because it's personal information. You know it better than we do. which I'm hoping you would expect. But what we've tried to do, so there is a bit of manual input into it, but passport information is one thing you do every 10 years, driving licence pretty much the same. Yeah. The interactive nature of it, we have links with, I'm not even going to mention who they are, but we've got bank account links so they can automatically populate Lyfeguard for you. If you happen to have a car, if you pop in the registration number, we can automatically remind you when your MOT is due, and indeed when your road tax is due, because we have clever interfaces with other platforms to do that. So it's a mix of both, Sylvie.
Okay, and then sort of going to the end of life bit again. So how do your loved ones then get access to all of this?
So customers who use Lyfeguard can use a trusted user functionality. Now what we've done through that is give the ability for a customer to share as much or as little information as they want. So we've made it as flexible as possible. So they can choose to share everything, or choose to share pretty much individual parts of their Lyfeguard. But also, and it's very important, is they can choose to share it in life, so straight away, or actually choose to share it after they die. So customers have the complete flexibility to choose who they want to share their information with, how much they want to share, and also when they want to share it.
Brilliant. So, how secure is it then?
Always get this question. So thanks for asking. So because it's a modern platform, we have designed Lyfeguard from the ground up being absolutely secure. If you trust your banking app, then you can trust Lyfeguard. It's been built with the same encryption technology that that banking apps actually use. In addition to that, we have achieved something, and this is a bit technical, Sylvie, it's ISO 27001.
Oh, I knew that. Yeah, you should have asked me. I could have helped you.
Which, for your listeners, is the international security standard for kind of like platforms like Lyfeguard. Indeed, what we've also done is employed the services of ethical hackers. So you get the bad hackers out there. We've actually paid for the guys to hack our site, and that's both from the outside in, and indeed we've given them a user account, so they've been inside a platform trying to get to other information within the platform, and I am delighted to say that we passed with flying colours on that one. Finally, which I'm sure your listeners will be aware of, and they use it all the time with banking apps, etc., we use something called multi-factor authentication. So it's not just about a username, a password. You'll get an independent code to your mobile phone, SMS digit code, so it makes sure that who you are, you really are that person.
It really is solid, isn't it? Fantastic stuff. I think I could have a new career in being a professional hacker. Think that one through.
There's definitely good money in it.
I bet. How much does it cost to sign up? Is there an ongoing fee involved? How does it work?
So we wanted to make it really accessible for all. So there are two options available. You've got the free plan, which is, as it says on the tin, free. People can go on, and that is free for life, and it will always be free. Alternatively, there's a kind of premium option called Lyfeguard Pro. That is £4.99 a month. Or users can have the choice to pay annually and save 20%, so that's £49.99 a year. So, yeah, free to start with, but people can kind of upgrade to the Pro version and get extra features alongside that. And
for that security, I mean, cost of living aside, that's not a lot of money, is it? To have everything in one place, to have, that stability, security, not just secure as in the Lyfeguard itself, but security for your family and your loved ones. That's not a lot of money to ask, is it?
No, indeed. And I think the other thing I'd like to add to Fraser's point is we have partnered with a number of different firms where we can provide will services and various other things that can save you money. If you're a subscriber to Lyfeguard, you can actually save 30% off a will, and we've got various other incentives and discounts. So almost you can pay for the subscription yourself through the offers that we provide through the site as well.
You thought of everything. Fantastic stuff. How can people find out more?
People can find out more at lyfeguard.com or across any of our social channels, so Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, at Lyfeguard Social.
Fantastic. And as I mentioned at the beginning, it's Lyfe, L-Y-F-E, not the kind of person who rescues you when you're in trouble in your swimming pool. So L-Y-F-E, guard, all one word, lyfeguard.com. Gary and Fraser Stewart, thank you so much for coming into the studio. What's planned for the rest of your Sunday afternoon?
I was hoping there's a good game of football on at 4 o'clock, but I'm not sure.
Okie dokie. All right. No teams mentioned then. Okie dokes. All right.
Sylvie.
Thank you so much for coming into the
Thank
studio.
you.
An absolute pleasure to have you both here.
Thank you.
BBC Radio Surrey.